Hey everyone, in this episode we sit with my dear friend, Barry Floyd, endearingly known as B-Rock. He has 27 years in the fire service, and we discuss his upbringing in Baltimore City, how he stayed away from the street life during the 80s, but how he also experienced that side of it when he was shot in the head at the age of 18. Through a year-long recovery, it's actually what inspired him to join the fire service. We dive into his experiences during a 2008 Mayday when a garden apartment roof dropped on top of him and his officer, one of my other buddies, Lieutenant Greg Frank, and the lessons learned. I've also attached a YouTube video of that fire after they had already exited the structure. So check that out in the show notes. Also, what it means to be a senior firefighter, creative ways to build connection with your people, and so much more. He is certainly one of those people that leaves it better than he finds it, and I am so incredibly grateful that he gave me some of his time. So, lastly, B-Rock mentioned a handful of names during the podcast that have shaped his personal and professional life. Men and women who have shaped the fire service and have shown true commitment and have given opportunity. So please stay tuned until the end, and he's going to give his personal thanks and shout-outs. So please like, share, subscribe to the podcast. Check the Patreon link in the show notes to become a member of the Forged and Unbroken community. Daily workouts, weekly growth mindset episodes that are only on Patreon, early access to the Forged and Unbroken podcast, the In Extremis Readiness podcast, mobility videos that are only on the Patreon, suggested reading list, and there's a ton more. 30 membership is going to charity, and there's a quarterly give back to members. All new members get a free sticker pack when they join. Appreciate the support. Check it out. Thank you.
I've got a fire, one trap on the second floor, hanging on the window.
The Forged and Unbroken podcast. I know you're busy, and so I want to try to keep it condensed as possible so I don't mess with you. But if you could, really quickly, we were just talking about family stuff and family upbringing. Could you just give the quick cliff notes? Because I know you got the city upbringing, working up for the county. What was that like for you?
Okay, so grew up in Baltimore City, around north in Bentlow, between Coppin State College and Carver High School and Mondawmin Mall, that area. Raised by my mom since I was 5. My father was an alcoholic, but what I loved about my mom is she never badmouthed him. She always said that I had his good qualities and that he just had a disease. So she always held my father in high esteem for me and didn't put him in low esteem based on their relationship, which helped me a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And how to deal with people and how to treat people, which you don't see that a lot today. If marriages fail, normally one's good, one's bad, but my mother never put that on my dad. And it really helped me as a child into adulthood on treating people the right way. Even though the relationship might go bad for me, that don't mean it has to be bad for someone else. So we were very poor, lived off, my mother was a seamstress, worked at a fabric store, and from age 10 I would catch the bus from Carver up to Park Heights in Northern Parkway area, and because my mother didn't want me to stay home and get into trouble.
Okay.
So she taught me how to catch the bus, and I would get to her job, and then I would, for money on the side, the owners would allow me to clean up the fabric, run errands for the people working at the store.
Yeah. How old are you?
I was 10.
It's over 10. Service stack on one.
Yeah, so I worked since I was 10. And that helped me grow up.
Yeah.
And my mother just wanted to protect me, and she knew if I stayed home, somebody would influence me in a bad way. Not necessarily me looking for it, but it's just the way the city is. If young people, they know that you're home playing, the environment is conducive to have children go astray.
Yeah.
Because you got drug dealers on corners watching you, and you're already poor. So if I can get them a brand new pair of tennis shoes, then I'm who I would look up to the drug dealer because he got me something that I wanted materially versus your home parenting protecting you physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Yeah. What decade was this during this?
This was early 80s.
Yeah.
So in February of 88, so I'm very religious. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. That helped a lot too. So that environment protected me.
Yeah.
And taught me values. So in February of 88, I was coming back from a Bible study and got shot and robbed in the head. And the bullet still enlarged in my head. And so was able to crawl myself home, let my mother know. And then I blacked out from that. And they took me down to shock trauma. Actually, shock trauma was full. So they took me into university, and the shock trauma doctors came down and worked on me.
Wow.
So I was in rehab for like a year.
A year. I knew you'd been shot. I didn't realize it was a full year of like recovery and rehab though. How old were you?
I was 18.
18.
Student service.
Senior in high school.
Wow.
So I went and lived with my aunt in Baltimore County for that year. Just as a protection.
Yeah, sure.
And so thankfully I'm still here.
That's amazing, man. That's cool. What was it that piqued your interest for the fire service?
That shooting, me being shot, and my religion, they always, Jesus came to the earth to help people, you know. So we're always trying to help people to learn more about the Bible.
Yeah.
So that was already instilled in me to be helpful to people. So after me getting shot, I said, well, I can have the best of two worlds. In my religion, I can help people, and then in people's emergencies, because I got helped by the fire department. Now I can help other people in the fire department. So that kind of lit a fire into me. So that's what I want to do. They saved my life, so I want to be able to help others.
Yeah, it's amazing. A life of service on all fronts.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool, man. How many years do you have in right now?
I have 27.
27. Yeah. And you've hit all kinds of assignments, and much of it has been in the special operations community as well, right?
Yep. So I had like a month at Station 1. Then I went to 6 for like 9 months. I went to 5 for a couple months. And then back then you had to get approval of your captain to be transferred, get approval of the captain that you was going to go there, and for special ops you had to write a letter and a resume. And so I did that to go to Station 10. And so back then we rotated through all 3 pieces, the ammo, the engine, and the truck. Soon after we got assigned, so I got assigned to the truck, and I went to the truck. And then when Station 2, Tower 2 went in service, Captain Dave O'Neill called me and asked me would I come to the tower at 2. And he said 2 shifts had requested me. So I thought that was very honorable that someone thought that much of me. And so I said, sure, Dave O was an awesome guy. And so I went there. Greg Frank was at Station 9 as an engine officer. And so he got sent to Truck 2 on B shift. And he was one of the ones that requested me. And so I went to work for him for a couple of years.
Awesome.
Then he got transferred. And then I asked to go back to 10 because that was home.
Yeah.
And so then I went to 10. Then I got another phone call from Chief Winston. Asked him would I come to training because they needed some help in training. So I did that for 2 years, and that was very rewarding. Kind of later in my career than I wanted to, because I had been trying to do some teaching early on, but the situation never presented itself. but between Chief Winston and Chief Utz helped me to do that. And so I did that for 2 years, and then I got another phone call from now Battalion Chief Stout, asked me would I come to logistics. So from after my first 2 years and my first efforts to get to 10 by my own doing, after that, everywhere I was assigned, someone requested me to go.
Yeah.
So that's very important to me, that I'm proud of, that people saw something good in me, coming from inner city, poor guy, but the values that my mother taught me were paying off.
Yeah, that's amazing. Living that 1980s Baltimore City inner life, and then now you fast forward and you're in some of the hardest charging companies, like Greg Frank and Dave O'Neill. Like, Dave could ask me anything, and I'll just the phone won't even be off yet. I'll be like trying to show up to his door, man. Like, I'll do anything for that dude, man.
Right? Yeah.
Just honorable people, and you've had that reputation and drive where you're in these special operations community. You're being requested. Like, you've done amazing things. That's so cool to see. And Tower 2 was a newer company when you went. It was a new company. Like, you were the guys that started it up. And right out the gate, like, significant house fires with rescues and just really amazing things. While you were there in Ellicott City, you're a special operations tower, and you're doing a lot of it's a unique area because you have Main Street, which is kind of like Main Street USA. We got put on the national map because of the floods that happened there, and it's a neat mix. Like, there is Koreatown, there's Route 70 corridor, international thoroughfare, and everything from crazy big single families to the garden apartments. And so while you were there, and that's what we really wanted to do, was your fire with Mayday, right? So if you could kind of give us the rundown, because it's a town and country, right?
Yes.
Yeah, town and country is just a garden apartment complex. Run tons of calls in there. Yep. There's been some medicals and fires. Like, what was that? Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, so on March the 23rd, 2008, it was a Easter Sunday morning. It was change of shift, so we were coming on, normally get in around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the box dropped. So first thing, change of shift. That's the first thing. So everybody's getting their stuff. We get in, we put our stuff on, and relieve the people right away. So we get the call for the apartment complex fire, multiple calls, Easter Sunday. So we pull up, and quadrant A-B corner is fully involved. In the apartment, the top floor apartment, I think is 3 floors, enclosed stairwell. And so me and the lieutenant get off, and on a holiday and a Sunday, it's nothing but cars there. So neighbors are outside saying that there's someone still in the apartment. So with that type of day, the likelihood of that being is true. So I always was the orange guy, so me and the lieutenant went up to the door. I forced the door, and we were waiting for the engine to come up, but they was having difficulty getting water. So he said, well, let's go and search. So we did a typical truck search with experienced people. One person went right, one person went left, and we were in for maybe like 3 minutes searching, and roof collapsed. And so roof collapsed. Then I hear him calling for me. I'm calling for him. The rafters fell into the apartment. So I feel as though the fact that it was third floor apartment, we have the roof above us, and it collapsed and it vented, really helped us.
Okay.
Because the heat. We felt the heat. It was fire, a lot of fire, not as much smoke. But the fact that it vented helped that not to be like an oven.
Yeah.
So we felt the heat, but we found each other, and then we looked at each other's eyes and said, "You good?" "Yeah, I'm good." And so we crawled through the rafters, and the front door got partially blocked. So the lieutenant off of the engine called the Mayday for us.
Okay.
Because when she saw the roof collapse, she immediately called the Mayday. We were focused on getting out.
Yeah. And really quick, it didn't necessarily land on top of you. It was kind of like cantilever where you were protected, or did it come on? Did it like pin you down?
No, kind of like pancake cantilever, and the fact that we were doing churches, I think, helped us too.
You were closer to the wall when it
Yes.
happened.
Yeah. So it kind of did like this in the middle.
Okay.
So it did not fall directly on either one of us.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So that was a saving too.
Yeah.
So we just had to work our way through it to find each other, then to get out.
Mm-hmm. But to get out, you had to get back on top of the rafters that had originally come down on top of you, more or less, to get back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for Lieutenant Frank being there, as we ran several calls at 9 and we were coming from 10. So we had, prior to getting there, we already had experience with fires and our faces and experience together. So the fact that he was a seasoned officer and I had experience, I really think helped us to get out of there safely.
Yeah.
Because we kept our wits with us. We realized it was an emergency, but we weren't panicking. Because we had experience with fires and stuff before. And he wanted to make sure I was good. I wanted to make sure he was good. And then he said a few choice words, and we worked our way out of the building. When we got out, his gear was like smoking real bad, so you could tell he had been in intense heat.
Yeah.
You know, and people were trying to get the stuff off him, and he was just trying to get his composure. But he was fine. You know, he just needed a minute.
Sure.
So.
What were the conditions like crawling back out over the rafters? Was there still fire conditions? Was it zero visibility? I know you said it helped lift the heat, but what was that? I mean, crawling over rafters that had collapsed to get back to the door you came in on to get to the stairwell.
It was heavy fire conditions, like not much smoke. When we got in there, it was black, thick smoke. So it's almost like it lit off and was in the rafters. And then after being in the rafters, consuming the rafters for so long, that because the back actually had more fire, but we didn't get a chance to get around there for a 360. We were just trying to do rescues. So it had been burning for a minute. We just couldn't see that, you know. So heavy fire conditions, and once the roof collapsed, the visibility was pretty good.
Okay.
But when we got in there, it was zero visibility.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much heat in there. I think most of it was in the rafters.
Yeah.
But once the rafters came down, it was very intense heat.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you guys got out relatively unscathed, though.
Yeah.
Like no real injuries.
No.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thankfully,
yeah. After you guys got back to the stairwell, they cleared the Mayday. And did you go right back to work? What was the next 5 to 10 minutes after getting out like?
Everybody was just concerned for me and Lieutenant Frank. Our gears was real hot, so the fire department has humor, so we were outside on our knees outside of the structure, and people were running over to Lieutenant Frank and trying to get him stuff off of him, and he was like, said a few choice words, get off of me. And because of the fire department humor, I just bust out laughing. And it kind of broke the ice of the seriousness of the matter. Yeah, right. We were out safe. That's all that mattered. Yeah. So when he told everybody to get off of him with a few choice words, I just bust out laughing and started taking my gear off, and they said we were done for the day, and that's fine, you know. But one of the other firefighters, Lieutenant Morrison, now was around back trying to get ladders to the rear, and actually cut his hand. Glass from the hand went through his glove and cut his hand because he was desperately trying to get a ladder to that floor. Yeah, you know. But that was the only injury that I remember. Yeah. Before we move on, there's one other thing I want to, through my history of the fire department, there's a good fact that I want to share, that Chief Hardesty was a firefighter in my academy in '97. And my father died when I was in the academy from an alcoholic seizure. So him and several instructors came to the funeral. And in 2011, my mom died from breast cancer. And so Chief Hardesty came again with some firefighters from my shift. And my second tour at 10, Chief Hardesty was my officer. And then when I went to the academy, I was one of the lead instructors for rescue for his son. So it was almost like a full circle, and his son had me pin him.
Oh, that's amazing.
So Chief Hardesty really looked out for me in my career, really taught me a lot. Yeah. So I just wanted to honor him in this cast podcast.
Oh man, I appreciate that. He's one of those guys that's well known throughout the region, and it's because he genuinely loves this job. He cares about it. He's got a passion for it, and that dude will do anything. Quick story, like I was, an older couple had a mountain house out west, but they had their main home in downtown Columbia, and they had this can of bear spray to protect themselves when they went to the cabin, and they didn't even know if it worked, so they had the bright idea to spray it inside their house to see if it worked. Well, it destroyed the whole house. We had to take them to the hospital because of all the, it's a high concentration. I'm sitting there trying to call some of the SO guys, be like, I don't even know what to do right now to help like mitigate this issue. And so I call him, and I don't even get to say hello. He immediately starts just like running down the list of everything I need to do, because he's always listening to the radio. He's always picking up calls, and he's always doing anything and everything he can to help you out, from like here, the special ops community, fallen firefighters, like out in Colorado. Like that dude, he's built different.
And the thing that I appreciate him about the most is he grew up around the city too, but he holds people accountable. So he's willing to train you, do anything, but he holds people accountable. And if you hold yourself accountable, then it's nothing that he won't do for you. If you don't have to be the expert at being a firefighter like he is. But if he sees your drive to care about people, to care about certain disciplines, and do the best that you can with your ability, he will do anything for you. That's all he asks, for you to do the best at your ability. If you ain't good at typing up letters, no problem, but be good at rope, be good at something, and be honest, and he'll do anything for you. And that's what I appreciate the most about him.
If we could all be a little bit more like that, this world would be a better place.
It would.
It would. What are now, with your position still in logistics, but also being able to help out the academy, I know you've done a lot of teaching, you do a lot of BA stuff. From this Mayday, what are some of the lessons learned that you try to get out to people?
I've also helped in Fire 1 and 2 with stoking. So I've done that for like 10 years, and the training from that is invaluable. As you know, in our county, fires are high risk, low frequency. When I first came in, we had more fires, and we only had 2 special services. Now we have 3 with less fires. So a couple of instructors, Chief Hardesty, Lieutenant Liebno, different instructors has always told me, if you want to learn the job well, teach it. And so being a stoker in Fire 1 and Fire 2 helps me appreciate fire behavior, our limitations, how fire affects the thermal layering of our gear, how the moisture is held in our gear. If it's raining outside, it changes dramatically. So we have to change our tactics or how long we're going to fight a fire because the layering in your gear doesn't hold up as well in the rain. Once rain has hit the gear, because we've stoked on rain, and then go in and set fires, and you're hot quicker, way quicker. So that's something to keep in mind in the field that everybody don't know. They just think that your gear is going to last for X amount of time and a IDLH, and then the weather affects that gear. So you have to be mindful of that, and when you're in the training academy, it's repetition. So you're stoking multiple times, and so by the end of the day, you're spent. But that experience of that helps you to appreciate the seat of the fire, a real fire, fighting the fire based on heat, being able to have a voice even if you're just a senior firefighter in a structure saying, hey Cap, hey Lieutenant, it's really hot in here, something's not right, because I felt that heat before, And so with our department being relatively young and experienced with fire attack, that really has helped me in my career to know my limitations, knowledge of fire behavior, looking at it, feeling it inside. It really has given me a lot of experience on how to deal with fires.
Yeah. I think we were just talking about this up in training up at the top. If you take out the officers and the HVOs, just firefighter rank level, it's something like 2/3 of the department has 5 years or less on. So the learning curve right now is pretty steep. But we were just kind of talking about that beforehand. Like if you provide the why and create some ownership over it, like they're all about it, and they'll get after it. We just have to provide that environment and the accountability, going back to what you said, to keep them motivated.
Another thing that I've learned is taking time to train each shift. You don't have to train all day, but after transitioning, you check your equipment, train for a couple of hours, whether it's tabletop or go out in the engine floor and do something. I've been passionate about BA and buddy breathing and transfilling, and on our packs, we had that regulator hose quick disconnect. And years before I got into training, people would come out of the academy and we would do different training, and they would say things like, well, we never done that. I've never done that. And some of the BA skills was one of the things they said. Well, it might be that person not telling the truth, or they try to hide, or the training academy not focusing on that one skill as much. So I made that my passion to make sure that the day one that they hit the field, that if they ever have a serious fire where they have to extend themselves, that their PPE, they know their BA like the back of their hand to the best of my ability and their self-worth.
Yeah.
So buddy breathing, transfilling, disconnecting your regulator hose, quick disconnect. If your cylinder got entangled, I wanted to know for myself that they know how to do that.
Yeah.
And the more that they take it seriously, if they get a serious call and they need to help someone else, they can fix their own problem and help someone else. They may be in pre-K or elementary school as far as experience, but the basics of what they need to hit the field for BA, I wanted to make sure they had, because I felt that though that was very important.
Yeah, it's our lifeline, and I feel like you and I were definitely cut from the same cloth with BA stuff, because that was near and dear to me, and you're putting training out in the field, in addition to all your other obligations, where you are also getting the heart rate up, the breathing rate up, and then having people go through these evolutions, and that's a game changer.
Yeah.
You got 27 years in the department, and you're, how old are you?
I'll be 55 in November.
55 in November, and you're, I don't mean this to throw shade at anybody, you're running circles around people because you've kept up with your skill set, and you've kept up with the expertise side of it, and you've kept up your physical fitness to a degree which you're getting your heart rate up, your breathing rate up, and you're doing these very technical Mayday skills.
I've lost a couple steps, but
it's all good, man.
I have enough mental. I have enough training and mental fortitude to know my limitations now. You know, and I'm not the same I was when I was 40. I started to feel it then. In the field, my last big job was in PG County, and we had to do a trench cut on this commercial structure that was on the second floor, and the second floor was full of fire and smoke, and we did a trench cut and multiple cuts in the roof to try to relieve some of the heat inside, and came back down, and one of the other firefighters said, after like 10 cuts, said, "You going back up?" I said, "No, sir."
I'm good.
Yeah, but that's why I'm trying to pass on what I can before I leave.
Yeah.
Just say that I left something positive. I have a saying that I had in class 32 and 33, get your mind right. Mm-hmm. And so another good fact that I was very honored was I was one of the lead instructors in 32 and 33, and Chief Hummel, who was then at the time captain, was leading the fire academy. And at the end, he said, "Have you seen that class shirt yet?" And I said, "No, what are you talking about? I haven't seen that shirt." And so he said, "Come down to the classroom." So the class had picked my saying to put on the back of their shirt. So I was really proud of that. You couldn't pay me no amount of money.
I know exactly what your shirt you're talking about. I had no idea that was from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I would tell them doing training and doing BA, get your mind right, meaning that serious emergency day may come. Mm-hmm. So your mind has to always be right. You know how training is, they go through rotations, through squad 1 to squad 6. Well, squad 6 has to be just as efficient as squad 1, but they're tired now. Yeah. So their mental fortitude, at the end of the day, they wouldn't be thinking clearly. So I would like, get your mind right, and you got to still do the task so you can go home to your family, so you can take care of your crew, even when you're tired, you know. Yes. And so that's why I was like, get your mind right. And that came from me saying it.
That's amazing. I know we're getting on the back end of this. There's just a couple quick points I want to hit. If you could really quickly explain the mindset of the movie and getting to know each other that we just talked about it here. I think that was really cool. Yeah, will you explain that?
So, Captain Osler at the time and Lieutenant Kirby, I was one of the lead instructors in class 32 and 33, and I had came up with an idea of say, hey, let's give them a homework. Remember, The Titans is a football movie. And it talks about different cultures and how they all should work together and how they can all be a good team. And so I started a homework assignment where everybody in the trainee class had to watch the movie. Then they had to pick someone to interview, and they would interview the person and ask them questions like, what's your greatest achievement? What's your greatest failure? What did you learn from it? They would also have to meet one of the family members, kind of like in a movie where the one football player met the other guy's mom from a different culture, to break to help them appreciate that the fire department is a team, is a family. We don't see race, we don't see culture, we see family, and that take care of each other, and realize that different cultures, we're not that big of a difference, you know. And from someone that has grown up on a farm in the country to someone that has grown up in the city, we can all learn from each other. Dean Hall was my mentor, and he was from a country environment. I was from the city, but I learned so much from him by allowing myself to open my heart to. He was an old school, no nonsense guy, but I'm used to that. Yeah. But he cared about me once he realized, okay, he's cool. Yeah, you know. Yeah. And so he would teach me stuff about chainsaws, stuff about construction, and I was willing to learn. And I would teach him stuff about the city, and we still good friends to the day. But that movie was designed. There's all kinds of stereotypes. Sometimes our parents haven't even had the exposure to different cultures. Yeah. So it was designed to help them to appreciate that. Take the time to get to know your brothers and sisters. Kind of let some of your guards down. Speak of your history so they can know how you tick, and how y'all can love each other, because those bad days may come. You know, yes. I've had calls where babies passed, and some of my shift mates were crying, so I had to comfort them. Yeah. It's going to be bad calls. There's going to be bad things happening in our families. We need to take care of each other. So that homework assignment was designed to get them on the right path from day one, and just we all are blue. Yeah. Just don't bring no different things in.
This speaks to your character because it's a homework assignment with the intent of creating connection and making people trust each other more, love each other more. You're literally making people better, and that sometimes that gets lost. You know, sometimes you get lost in the push-ups and the running and the tactics, and some of those things are very necessary. And you're taking that to another layer deeper and creating those connection points. Because 30 years later, that's going to mean something.
And humility is key. Like you gotta be humble. I only have a high school education. Some people have multiple degrees, but we have to be humble in order to grow, because even though I may have a degree, don't mean I know everything. Yeah. Even though I may just have a high school education, I definitely don't know everything. But there's so much value in being humble enough to learn from each other. For a short stint, Battalion Chief Michael Sharp was my captain, and I was always in the rope, and I did a knot one day. It's called a Portuguese bowling. Okay. And I put that together from a class that I did, and as you know, Mike Sharp is one of the sharpest guys we have. Oh, yeah. You know, and I did the knot in front of him. He was like, show me that again. And so he had me show him the knot, but he was willing for me, being my captain, to say, hey, that's cool, show me that. You know, we took a written test one time, like you know how Captain Zhao does those tests using that app that he uses, and we took a test on rope, and I scored higher than Captain Sharp. I was like, yeah. He was like, you got it, you the man. But I wasn't bragging or anything. It was just something I was into, but it was like, he knows 10 times more things than I do, but it was one thing that I could share with him where we both grow together. Right. And that's how you got to look at, you should look at life that way. Yeah. But especially this job, you have to look at, we are a team. The driver is no more important than the officer. The officer is no more important than the trainee firefighter. Yeah. You can't leave one person behind. We have to grow together, and we got to be willing to listen to each other. And that's one thing that the crews that I've worked on, everybody always had a respectful voice. Mm-hmm. If we seen an emergency, we would say stop, and everybody stopped. And if we saw something to recommend to the officer, sir, can I recommend this? Yeah, go with that. Mm-hmm. We all had a voice because we all cared.
Yeah.
And the officer knew that. So we didn't speak if it wasn't necessary. But if we saw something that benefited the crew, we spoke, and he always respected it. So
well, it's obvious to me now, hindsight being what it is, that a lot of your mentorship and character was reflected into the rest of the shifts you work. Because every place that you've been, you see your influence, and that's been powerful. And you've been a go-to guy. And there's two things that stick out to me. One, kind of the funny one, is. My wife and been married 13. I think we'll be together 18 years now. And you were the DJ at our wedding, right? People still to this day talk about how much fun they had because you created that energy and you allowed us to have a really amazing time.
That was awesome.
That was a good time, man.
Yeah,
so I appreciate that. We
Absolutely.
still talk about that.
Cool.
And I think one of the powerful memories that I have was just last year when I asked you, just on a whim, you were coming in to drop equipment off. And here's a guy, almost 30 years in. You could kick your feet up if you wanted to, but you are literally on the ground, crawling and showing different positions to people with less than 3 years on to explain your Mayday and to explain different lessons learned. And I remember that's super powerful. So many people did not know your story. I'm like, dude, can you take 5 minutes with us? And for the next hour, you're crawling on the floor showing these couple year people something, and that's an image that's just like burned into my memory, man. And you're one of those people when I leave this, like my cup is filled. Like just you bring love and peace and so much knowledge to what you're doing, and it's powerful.
Thank you for allowing me to share it on your podcast.
Man, I appreciate you. Is there any closing thoughts?
Just if I could pass anything on, just stay humble. Just because you can promote don't mean you should promote. Try to learn the job. Try to make sure you're, because there's a lot of responsibility every time we go up, and don't forget the bases and don't forget the people underneath of you. Just stay humble, love each other. Yeah. Love each other. We need to take care of each other and be responsible adults. And that's what I would do. Get your mind right. Keep your mind right. But be a good shift mate. And the senior firefighter role is a lost art, I think. And we need to pay more homage to those people, because the officers and drivers need to be able to rely on somebody that has some time on. So I hope to see in our department that the officers and staff allows that role to be nurtured.
Yes.
Because it's very important to keep the shift together and cohesive. And that person has to be honorable, respectful, honest, and caring for everybody. It can't be biased. That person has to be solid and genuine.
Yes.
So that the officer and the driver can depend on him and trust him to do riding assignments, to talk to someone who's having a bad day, to handle different things so the officer can take care of everybody else. So if the officer sends me to, hey, can you go help this guy with ladders? The officer need to be able to say, okay, Floyd's going to help them do ladders. He's going to do a spreadsheet with them. He's going to be patient with them. He's not going to disrespect them. He's going to make sure that they learn the right way. And if they need remedial training, when he comes and gets me, that means they needs a little more help, because I can trust that he done everything he can to help them.
Yeah.
But that person, that senior person, needs to be like that.
Yeah.
And I hope to see that as the younger generation gets more experience, that the senior firefighter has a role on different shifts around the county.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The senior guy or gal has had a tremendous amount of influence, can have a tremendous amount of influence. They've been my saving grace on so many opportunities and so many environments. And I think you are a direct reflection of the amount of amazing, humble work and growth that you can get out of a person in a shift by having that strong senior fireman role. So I appreciate that.
And be proud of it. If you want to be the senior firefighter, that's good. If you want to be an HVO, be a good one. If you want to be a lieutenant, be a good one. There's nothing wrong. Find your niche. You want to be a good paramedic, be a good one. But find your niche and be responsible and support your shift.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you doing this with me. It's a responsibility I don't take lightly. I love you like a brother.
Love you too. My privilege.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Much love, dude.
All right.
Appreciate you. Hey, everyone. Quick little shout out here for the end. This is straight from B-Rock. Just a testament to how kind of a soul he is. He wanted to give his special thanks, and he's allowing me to do that. So without further ado, B-Rock wanted to give special thanks to Dean Hall for his mentoring, Brian Grossnickel for helping him out during the fire academy because he had no fire experience up until then, Chief Ridgely for always caring about his crews so very much. Also how he cared about what the emergency scene was and how we can prevent it from happening again. Captain Stacy Roll for being an outstanding sister in the fire department. Chief Blankenship, Hardesty, Utz, Michael Sharp, Captain John Zauer, Captain Lou Kirby, retired Lieutenant Liebno, retired Captain Osler, Lieutenant Murray, and all their support over the years during the education and training times. Lieutenant Sean Morrison for being an outstanding shift mate on Tower 2B. Mike Marlette, Mike Bowen, John Rilliard, Thomas Nelson, Kim Webb, the Hobb brothers, and all of 10B for being an outstanding shift mates and always having their back for special operations days. And Chuck Vittori for his hard work on any fire ground and as a driver who always took care of the crew. And last, certainly not least, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Lieutenant Greg Frank. Special thanks. So straight from Barry, thank you everyone. Appreciate you.